Welcome the rare gems. Some people learn the hard way that quiet strength is the most dangerous kind. There's a certain kind of woman you don't play games with. She doesn't make noise, she doesn't announce her moves, and she doesn't beg for loyalty. She observes, understands, and decides, all in silence. That's the Sigma female. The moment you try to fool her, you've already lost, because she's not reacting from emotion. She's responding from awareness. What makes her different is how deeply she pays attention. She notices what people try to hide behind charm, excuses, or manipulation. While most people are busy proving themselves, she's studying motives. You can't confuse her because she's been through too much to fall for surface appearances. When she gets hurt, she doesn't collapse or seek sympathy. She uses the pain as data, not drama. She learns from it, adjusts her boundaries, and becomes wiser. You may think she's cold, but what she really is emotionally disciplined. Her calmness is not weakness, it's control. Fooling a Sigma female is not just a mistake, it's self-sabotage. Once she senses dishonesty or disrespect, she quietly removes herself. She won't argue, she won't expose you, she'll just disappear, leaving you to realize that she meant far more than you thought. In a world full of loud reactions, she stands out through her silence, her intuition, and her unmatched ability to rise untouched. And that's exactly why you should never, ever fool with a Sigma female. Let's dive into it, the rare gems. Number 1. They don't argue with liars. A Sigma female understands something most people never learn. Arguing with a liar is like trying to teach truth to someone who benefits from pretending not to hear it. She knows that people who live in deception don't want clarity, they want control. So instead of wasting her breath trying to expose them, she simply steps back and lets silence do the talking. When she realizes someone is lying, she doesn't react right away. She watches, she listens. She lets them keep talking until their own words tangle into knots. Liars always expose themselves. They can't help it. The Sigma female doesn't need to shout or prove them wrong, because time eventually does that for her. Picture this. Someone spreads rumors about her, hoping to get a rise out of her. She finds out, but instead of running around trying to correct every story, she stays calm. She knows that people with sense can tell the difference between noise and truth, and those who believe lies without evidence were never on her side to begin with. Her silence disarms the liar completely. They expected drama, confrontation, maybe even tears. Instead, they get nothing, no reaction, no validation, no stage. That emptiness eats them alive because deceit only thrives when it's fed attention. A Sigma female has mastered emotional discipline. She doesn't chase explanations from people who twist reality. She knows that truth doesn't need defending. It stands on its own. By walking away quietly, she keeps her peace intact while their lies slowly crumble. This approach isn't about pride, it's about wisdom. She understands that silence exposes deceit more effectively than argument ever could. So she watches calmly as the truth rises and the liar sinks under the weight of their own performance. That's why you never see a Sigma female arguing with liars. She simply leaves them to perform for an empty room. Number 2. They observe how you treat the absent. One of the most remarkable things about a Sigma female is how quietly she studies people. She doesn't judge based on appearance, charm, or words. She watches what most people overlook, the small, honest moments that reveal who someone truly is. And nothing exposes a person's real character faster than how they talk about those who are not in the room. To her, gossip is never harmless. It's a window into integrity. The moment she hears someone mocking or tearing down another person who isn't present to defend themselves, she makes a silent note. She might smile politely and continue the conversation, but in her mind, that person's credibility just collapsed. She knows that if they can do it to someone else, it's only a matter of time before they do it to her too. Imagine a scene at a dinner table. Everyone laughs as someone shares a story that humiliates a mutual friend. Most people go along with it, but the Sigma female just sits quietly, studying. She sees the ego behind the laughter, the insecurity behind the gossip, and in that silence she learns everything she needs to know. She doesn't confront or call it out every time. She simply adjusts her distance. She starts to trust less, to share less, and to engage less. Because for her, loyalty is not about how you act when people are watching. It's about how you speak when they aren't. She believes that the tongue reveals the soul. So when she hears cruelty disguised as humor or unnecessary criticism masked as honesty, she quietly steps back. It's not about judgment, it's about protection. That's the power of her observation. She doesn't need proof or drama to see who someone is. She just listens, and in those quiet moments, people unknowingly tell her everything. Number 3. They spot when interest has a price tag. A Sigma female has a rare kind of emotional intelligence, the kind that can hear the tone behind your words and sense the motive behind your smile. She sees through the subtle ways people disguise self-interest as affection. You can flatter her, praise her, even pretend to care. But if your attention feels like an investment waiting for a return, she instantly feels the weight of it. She can tell when kindness isn't genuine. Maybe it's the timing of the compliment, or how the tone changes once you don't get what you want. She notices the small shifts, how someone becomes distant after she sets a boundary, or how their support fades when there's nothing left to gain. That's when she emotionally checks out. Not out of anger, but out of clarity. For her, genuine connection should breathe freely, not feel like a transaction. She's seen enough people give love with one hand while keeping a silent invoice in the other. People who say, "I did this for you," as if generosity needs a receipt. She doesn't argue with them, she just walks away and never returns to that table again. Imagine a friend who suddenly becomes overly supportive when she succeeds, but quietly disappears when things get quiet. She notices. Or someone who helps her, but makes sure everyone knows about it later. She notices that too. Every gesture that comes with a price tag exposes itself over time. Her intuition protects her. It filters her circle until only those with pure intentions remain. Because she understands something powerful, love, friendship, and loyalty lose meaning the moment they start feeling like deals. So when she senses that your interest has conditions, she simply steps back. No confrontation, no drama, just quiet distance. That's her wisdom in motion. She knows that genuine care doesn't keep score, and anything that does is never real in the first place. Number 4. They keep information asymmetry. A Sigma female is the definition of quiet awareness. She knows the power of keeping certain things to herself. While most people talk to prove how much they know, she listens to understand how people think. That's her advantage. She gathers insight while giving away very little. The less people know about her, the more control she has over her peace. She's not secretive out of fear. She's strategic. She understands that information is energy, and whoever controls it controls the dynamic. So she practices what many never master: restraint. She doesn't need to correct every false assumption about her or reveal her next move just to feel seen. She's perfectly comfortable letting people underestimate her because she knows what silence can do. Imagine a meeting where everyone is talking over each other, trying to sound the smartest. She stays quiet, observing the flow, reading body language, catching details that others miss. By the time everyone has exhausted themselves, she already understands who's real, who's pretending, and who's playing politics. When she finally speaks, Her words land like precision strikes. Calm, direct, and impossible to challenge. Even in relationships, she keeps this balance. She doesn't expose all her thoughts or emotions right away, not because she's distant, but because she wants to see if a person values depth or just access. People who overshare too soon often lose control of their story. She doesn't make that mistake. By the time anyone realizes how much she actually understood, she's already made her decision, sometimes to stay, sometimes to walk away. Either way, she moves with clarity. Her silence isn't emptiness. It's a shield made of awareness. That's why underestimating her is always a mistake. While others play loud games with their words, she quietly wins with her understanding. Her power isn't in what she says, it's in what she chooses not to. Number 5. They know the anatomy of pretenders. A Sigma female has spent enough time observing human nature to recognize when someone's energy doesn't match their words. She's met every type of fake, the ones who crave attention, the ones who charm their way through life, and the ones who perform confidence like it's a costume. Each has a signature pattern, and she spots it long before they realize they've been read. She studies people quietly, not because she's suspicious, but because she values authenticity. When she listens, she's not only hearing your words, she's sensing your motives, your rhythm, and your inconsistencies. The loud attention seeker exposes themselves through exaggeration. The manipulator gives it away through selective honesty. The performer hides insecurity behind charm. She notices every detail. Imagine someone who praises her constantly, then subtly competes with her the moment she succeeds. She doesn't confront them, she just observes. Or someone who tries too hard to sound deep and confident, but their actions reveal emptiness. She sees through the act. Pretenders rely on performance, but she relies on pattern recognition. Once she identifies a mask, she never unsees it. From that moment, every word from that person is filtered through truth and motive. She might still engage politely, but emotionally, she's checked out. She doesn't waste time trying to change or expose anyone. She just adjusts her distance and protects her peace. Her awareness isn't cynicism, it's emotional intelligence shaped by experience. She's been fooled before, and each lesson sharpened her insight. Now she reads people the way an expert reads body language, effortlessly and accurately. Pretenders often mistake her calmness for naivety, unaware that she already knows who they are. But by the time they realize it, she's already mentally gone. That's the quiet brilliance of the Sigma female. She doesn't react to fakeness. She simply sees it, understands it, and walks away untouched. Number 6. They see the energy first, not the words. A Sigma female doesn't take people at face value. She listens to what's said, but more importantly, she pays attention to what's felt. To her, words are cheap if the energy behind them doesn't align. She's the kind of person who can hear a compliment and instantly know if it's real or rehearsed. She can sense when someone's apology comes from guilt, not sincerity, or when a smile hides silent envy. Her intuition works like a radar, subtle but precise. She notices the pauses between words, the tone that wavers, the sudden change in eye contact. Most people think they're good at pretending, but they forget that energy never lies. The Sigma female reads what others leak through body language and emotional vibration. She doesn't need proof because she can feel truth before it's spoken. Imagine someone telling her, "I'm happy for you," but their tone is tight and their eyes flicker with discomfort. She catches it instantly. She may not call it out, but her mind records it. Or someone saying, "I'm fine," while their whole posture screams frustration. She senses the tension and gives them space. She's not easily fooled because she doesn't process communication through ears alone. She listens with awareness. That sensitivity gives her an edge. It saves her from manipulative people who use charm as camouflage. She knows when affection is real and when it's performative. She knows when encouragement comes from love and when it comes from competition. Her world runs on authenticity, not performance. Once she feels your energy shift, she starts pulling away quietly. You may still be talking, but she's already understood everything you didn't say. That's what makes her presence powerful. She doesn't judge by appearance or language. She judges by vibration, by emotional truth, and that never lies. Number 7. They catch what you don't say. A Sigma female has mastered the art of listening beyond words. She doesn't just hear what you tell her. She pays attention to everything you leave unsaid. The silence between your sentences, the hesitation before you answer, the change in your breathing, the flicker in your eyes. These are the moments that speak the loudest to her. She doesn't need dramatic confessions or emotional speeches. Your silence already tells her the truth. Where others might be distracted by smooth talk or charm, she's tuned into the subtleties. She notices when your story feels too polished, or when your tone softens conveniently to sound sincere. She studies those small pauses that appear right before a lie or right after guilt. To her, those unspoken signals are louder than any explanation you could ever give. Imagine a friend insisting they're fine, yet their energy feels heavy. She doesn't argue, she just knows something's wrong. Or a partner saying, "I trust you," but their eyes briefly drop to the floor. She catches it, not to judge, but to understand. It's not suspicion that guides her, it's awareness. She knows that truth often hides behind the things people avoid saying out loud. This ability makes her deeply intuitive, sometimes even intimidating. People often wonder how she figures things out without being told. The answer is simple. She listens to silence as carefully as others listen to speech. You can't fake presence around her. If your energy doesn't align with your words, she feels the disconnection immediately. She may not call it out, but her perception quietly shifts. Once she senses inconsistency, she withdraws emotionally, protecting her peace before the truth even surfaces. That's the quiet power of the Sigma female. She doesn't just hear your words, she hears your truth. And she catches it in the silence you thought no one would notice. Number 8. They let you talk just to see where you slip. When a Sigma female goes quiet, most people mistake it for agreement or indifference. But her silence is never empty. It's strategic. She knows that people reveal themselves more when they're comfortable, so she lets them talk. She listens with calm curiosity while others rush to fill the air, unaware that every extra word becomes a clue. She understands that truth flows smoothly, but lies always stumble. That's why she never interrupts or argues too quickly. She lets the storyteller keep going, knowing that false confidence eventually collapses under its own weight. The longer you speak, the clearer your patterns become. Maybe your tone changes, your timeline doesn't add up, or your emotion suddenly feels rehearsed. To her, those small cracks are loud signals. Imagine a situation where someone is explaining why they couldn't be trusted with a secret. Everyone else might nod and move on, but the Sigma female just listens quietly. She catches the nervous laughter, the over-explanation, the parts that sound like they were practiced. She doesn't accuse anyone. She just lets silence do the work. Because silence always makes pretenders uncomfortable. Her calm listening style makes people underestimate her. They think they're charming her with words, not realizing she's studying how they use them. And when they eventually contradict themselves or reveal something unintended, she catches it instantly. No effort, no confrontation, just quiet realization. This is why she rarely gets fooled twice. She allows people to expose their own truth by simply giving them space to speak. She doesn't pressure, she doesn't pry, she just observes. By the time others realize what she's been doing, it's already too late. She's seen what she needed to see. That's the quiet power of the Sigma female. She doesn't demand honesty. She creates the silence that brings it out. Number 9. They read intention, not expression. A Sigma female looks past the surface of things. She knows that words and gestures can be rehearsed, but intentions never hide for long. You can smile at her, compliment her, even act kind. But she's not judging you by what you show. She's studying what drives it. She wants to know why you said what you said, not just how you said it. This ability to read motives makes her almost impossible to deceive. She's been around enough people who looked genuine while moving with quiet agendas. So she learned to look beyond expression, to watch timing, tone, and purpose. She notices when kindness feels calculated, when support feels like a strategy, or when generosity feels like a setup. Imagine someone praising her for a job well done, but slipping in a subtle dig right after. She won't call it out, but she'll remember it. Or someone offering help that feels too eager, as if they're collecting emotional debt. She sees through that instantly. For her, intention always outweighs expression because she knows sincerity has a distinct energy. It's calm, humble, and effortless. She doesn't need to analyze people in a paranoid way. She simply pays attention to alignment. When someone's energy and actions don't match their words, she feels the imbalance immediately. Her intuition works faster than logic, and she trusts it completely. What most people find intimidating about her is how quietly she reads them. While they're busy performing sincerity, she's already seen through the act. She doesn't need confrontation to confirm it. Your actions eventually do that for her. That's what makes her presence powerful and her trust rare. You can't win her over with charm or perfect manners. The only thing that speaks her language is genuine intention, because in her world, authenticity isn't said, it's felt. Number 10, they test without warning. A Sigma female doesn't test people out of insecurity. She does it out of wisdom. She knows that time always reveals truth, but sometimes she prefers to see it early. Her tests aren't the dramatic, obvious kind. They're subtle, calm, and disguised as casual conversation. You might not even realize she's observing you until it's too late. She might ask you a question that seems random, but it's never random to her. Every topic shift, every light-hearted comment, is designed to reveal your consistency. If she senses something doesn't match, your story, your tone, or your energy, she notes it quietly. She won't challenge you on the spot because she's not looking for explanations. She's studying behavior, not excuses. Imagine her asking, "Do you usually keep promises?" in the middle of a playful chat. You'd probably laugh and answer casually, but she's paying attention to how easily you say yes and whether your actions ever back it up later. To her, your reaction matters more than your response. What makes her tests so disarming is that they're never confrontational. You won't feel judged or cornered because she's not trying to catch you. She's trying to understand you. But if your mask slips during one of these quiet moments, she won't put it back on for you. She'll simply file the truth away and treat you accordingly. Her silence after these little tests isn't emptiness, it's data processing. She's deciding whether your energy deserves access to her peace. That's what makes her so unpredictable to those who underestimate her. By the time they realize she was testing them, the connection has already shifted. To her, consistency is the real language of truth. And once someone fails that unannounced test, she never re-administers it. She just quietly adjusts how close you can stand. Number 11. You can't win against someone who doesn't play. That's the quiet truth about a Sigma female. You can't beat her at mind games because she's not even at the table. While others are busy proving who cares less, who texts first, or who has the upper hand, she's already moved on to a different level. one where peace is more valuable than attention. A Sigma female understands that emotional games are a trap designed to drain her focus. She doesn't compare her path to anyone else's, because she knows that competition is only necessary when you're unsure of your own worth. Her confidence is silent, not loud. It shows in the way she carries herself, in the way she stays calm, even when people try to provoke her. Imagine this. Someone tries to make her jealous, expecting a reaction. Instead, she just smiles and continues doing what she was doing. That moment alone confuses people because they expect drama, not discipline. But that's her edge, her ability to stay emotionally grounded when others are spinning in chaos. Her detachment isn't coldness, it's control. She knows when to walk away from confusion, when to pause before speaking, and when to stay quiet instead of explaining herself to people who have already decided not to understand. This emotional distance protects her from unnecessary pain and keeps her focused on what actually matters. Most people play emotional chess, trying to predict each other's next move. The Sigma female doesn't. She simply doesn't play. She refuses to waste energy proving her value, and that's why she always stands out. You can't manipulate what doesn't seek validation. You can't win against what doesn't compete. She's mastered the art of stepping back, not because she's afraid to lose, but because she knows her peace is worth more than winning a meaningless game. And that's the secret power of her detachment. It keeps her free, untouchable, and always one step ahead. In final words, never mistake silence for weakness. The quiet ones often see and know more than they'll ever say. Fooling with a Sigma female is a mistake people often realize too late. She's not loud about her strength, yet she moves through life with a calm certainty that unsettles pretenders and tests the intentions of everyone around her. What makes her different isn't that she's emotionless, but that she's mastered control over her emotions. She doesn't react to disrespect. She studies it. She doesn't chase revenge. She lets life handle what's beneath her. You can't play games with someone who understands the rules better than the players. She's not impressed by charm, money, or attention. She values depth, peace, and truth. And the moment she senses manipulation or dishonesty, she withdraws in silence. That silence isn't weakness. It's her way of letting you expose yourself without interruption. What most people fail to understand is that she doesn't fight to prove herself right. She doesn't argue to defend her worth. She simply detaches, and that detachment has power. It leaves others confused, sometimes even haunted, because they expect chaos but get calm. And that calm is her final statement. The reason you should never fool with a Sigma female is simple. She doesn't need to destroy you. She just removes herself, and that absence speaks louder than any confrontation ever could. Once she's gone, you'll notice the void. Not because she took something from you, but because she carried peace with her. So when you cross paths with a woman like her, understand that respect is not optional. Her silence isn't empty, her forgiveness isn't a reset, and her distance isn't anger, it's wisdom. And once she's seen through you, there's no going back, not for her and not for you either. Thank you for watching The Rare Gems, and God bless you.